You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hey folks, Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the Our Lady sings that makes it official. Welcome to 16 years of the Chris Voss Show. 2,500 episodes and just growing like a weed as we bring you the most amazing minds on the earth to make your brains swell with intelligence. Maybe that should have been the name of the podcast. Brains that swell with their intelligence. And they brain bleed. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, YouTube.com/Chris Voss, Facebook.com/Chris Voss. Check us out on the webs for your family, friends, and relatives. Tell them to subscribe, or you want to send them a Christmas gift. No, I don't do that. That's not nice.
Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind.
Anyway, we have an amazing young man on the show today. We're going to be talking about his insights, his experience of life, et cetera, et cetera. He's the author of the book that came out April 6, 2021, called Redneck Resilience, The Country Boy's Journey to Prosperity. Was I supposed to have a banjo playing when I said that? Anyway, James Harold Webb joins us on the show. Well, and we're going to be talking about his insights, his life journey, and everything you may want to ever know about the man, the legend, and the redneck, I guess, as it were. He was born to two 17-year-old adults, parents, and living in an economically disadvantaged childhood. James Harold Webb had amazing wins and devastating losses through his life. He attributes a majority of his success to resilience and to relationships, both personally and professionally. His storied career started as a radiologic technologist in his home state of Mississippi, and then he moved to Dallas in 1983, began working as the director of radiology at a local hospital for the next 13 years, worked on the executive team for various medical imaging companies. Now he started his own companies and has become a key leader in the industry. Welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Hey, Chris. How are you, buddy?
I am good. I think I had a little cold or cough this morning, so I got a little bit of that going on. So give us a .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, so, and by the way, I have the same little cough and cold as you do, I think.
Oh.
So, yeah, you can find me on the web at my website, jamesharoldwebb.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, all those places. And then our little books on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Books A Million, 2 or 3 other places.
It sounded like the title of a country song, maybe. Country Resilience, A Country Boy's Journey to Prosperity. I don't know.
I hadn't thought of that. I should do that one day.
No. Yeah. Get like Willie Nelson to write that out. Maybe you can cut the book down in a set of lyrics. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's the side of your new book?
Yeah. So, it's one of those books where people tell you all the time, hey, you've had a great life. Why don't you write a book? And so I finally did. And as you mentioned, born in South Mississippi to 2 teenage parents that got a little too friendly too early in life, and got married and had me before they even graduated high school. And we grew up in poverty, as you might imagine, and started working when I was 5 years old. Because I learned early in life that if I wanted anything other than food on the table and a birthday present, I had to get it myself.
Wow.
And work my way through the making potholders for the church bazaar, to mowing yards, to doing a paper route, to ultimately working at a print shop when I was 14 years old.
Wow. Well, you learn a lot of gumption at that age, right? A lot of hustle.
Yeah, you do. Particularly you grew up in the deep South, where it was a crazy time to grow up there.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid trying to sell Boy Scout, Scoutorama tickets and Cub Scout, Scoutorama tickets. Man, they used to drop me off at the store and I'd try and hustle adults. And man, it was so scary because they were so big and towering, and sometimes they were really mean. And I'm just a kid, And so now whenever I go to the store, I see those people out soliciting Cub Scout cookies or Girl Scout cookies. I always just walk by, hand them a 20 and go, keep your product and And just got a great tip. But
That's great. I do the exact same thing. I really appreciate that exact same thing.
Yeah, help those entrepreneurs own a business someday. But it was pretty soul sucking when I was a kid in LA. It didn't help that it was the 70s, so it was in a recession. that gas one. Anyway, so you talk about would you say this is kind of a memoir? Would you say?
It is. It's got both. Every chapter has a life lesson or a business lesson, and it just kind of traces through the different paths I've gone, and some of the cool stories, and some of the crazy stories, and some of the sad stories. But people seem to like it, and I think the one thing that people take away from it is that it reads like I talk. So that's always enjoyed that, because I don't have necessarily the greatest talking in the world.
Well, there's something about plain language, English. Because, you ever tried reading one of those medical books?
Oh, yes.
The thesaurus.
Absolutely.
So, redneck resilience, growing up that way, I was like you. I got a paper out early on. I think it was like 10 or 11 that we could do it. And we started slinging that. I think before that, there was some things they used to sell. I think it was a subscription to a magazine. You could door to door and sell it.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember? But we do that, and there was a few other hustles we had that were in like the back of those magazines. And you'd be like, you can make money doing that. And but it taught me a lot of gumption. It taught me a lot of discipline. It taught me about work ethic really early on. Boy, there's something that sets you in work ethic when you're like 10 years old and you're like, I got to go deliver in the snow. Yeah.
You're right on about the work ethic. It definitely teaches you that.
Tell us more about, I kind of breezed over some stuff in your bio. Tell us about your upbringing. Give us a little bit more color into the background there, and take us up through, your work in the medical field and then starting your own companies.
Sure. So again, grew up in the Deep South, right in the middle of segregation. I can remember National Guard being on our high school campus, and my family was not part of that whole process. My best friend was African American when I grew up, which actually caused us a little grief in the South. And then, one day I decided to go to local junior college. I think I went to the bank and borrowed $525. And while walking through the campus, I saw a little sign that said, "You want to be an X-ray tech, call this number." And I thought, I got a little girlfriend. I'm going to get married early because I'm a Mississippian. And I signed up for X-ray tech school. And the day I had my interview, the girl dumped me. But I still went to X-ray tech school. And that was a 2-year slave labor program. It was based out of the hospital. And you basically work for free while you learn how to be an X-ray tech.
Wow.
Yeah. That led me to back to college in the daytime when I worked the night shift in the emergency room, and got a ton of crazy stories about that.
I'll bet, yeah.
And then the day I graduated from college, I was 21 years old. The hospital administrator called me to his office, and they offered me the job of director of education of the program I just graduated from 18 months earlier. So at 21 years of age, I was the youngest radiology education director in the country, and had 15 students, 8 of them my age. 3 of them I went to high school with, and quite the learning experience there as well.
What a journey. And was it hard to transition from working for other people to starting your own companies?
It wasn't when I did it, because that was along into my journey, because I thought initially I was just going to climb the corporate ladder and did that. And did everything you're supposed to do or not supposed to do. I got the master's degree and thought I was going to be a hospital administrator. And then this thing called MRI came out in the 80s, and I got involved in that early. On the business side. So I got a transition from clinical to business, and worked my way up to become president of a company in South Florida that had a bunch of imaging centers. And then about 5 years into that deal, a doctor came to me and said, "Would your company be willing to put an imaging center in the Caribbean?" And I said, "They will probably not, but I will." And the next day I got my boss to fire me so I could have a severance package, and asked me to be our first investor, and off I went to the Caribbean.
Write that down, folks. That's how you get your start. Get fired by your boss.
Well, yeah, he was a good buddy of mine. Thank goodness. He was the chairman of the board, and I was actually married to his niece, so it all worked out well.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
And spent 3 years
traveling. Always marry the boss's niece too.
It's not a bad move, trust me. And, had fun down there. A lot of great, crazy stories. And I tell people I'm the only guy you'll ever meet that had the Sandinista soldiers put a gun to his head twice. Only guy you'll ever meet that was almost kidnapped by the Guatemala rebels. So a doctor talked him out of it.
Wow.
And just some crazy, crazy stories.
And these are all in the book?
They're all in the book. And then at one point, I had a new baby, a 1-year-old baby, and I'd been in a riot in the city in Nicaragua, and the police were shooting at the taxi cab drivers, and I had a shotgun in my hand, and I just thought, what the hell am I doing? And I got on a plane and get back to Miami, and literally the next day reached out to some buyers and said, I'm done. You want to buy my company? And within 30 days sold it.
Wow. There you go. You're doing well then. So you talk in your book about you have the ability to build your own legacy. What's the messaging there? What do you expand on that if you could a little bit?
Yeah, I think that a lot of us get caught up in sort of the rules and regulations, and that's not always necessary, particularly when you're going to be an entrepreneur. And for me, it was always about hard work, and the standard line, the harder you work, the luckier you get was me. And then I always said, if you haven't failed at least 3 times, you're probably not trying hard enough. But it's really just about that constant, as we call resilience, getting knocked down, getting back up, and not just getting knocked down again, but getting back up and finding the new path. And I was always trying to find the right path.
Wow. You talk about how you can, where's this question? I thought this really stuck out to me when I saw it, and it had to do with the next Rockefeller. So ask yourself, why not me? Why can't my family be the next Rockefeller dynasty? I guess that's possible, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that it is a little later in life when that sort of hit me, when I realized that, I'd done okay in life, and I had the potential to pass it on to my children. And I learned a lot through a group called Tiger 21 about, passing on legacy, and that the way you lose your money is not the bad business deals. It's really through family relationships. And so we spent a lot of time as a family doing family governances and meetings. And, we have a once a year formal meeting.
Oh, really?
So that we can, once a year we have a sit down, we go over our mission statement, we go over our finances. My kids see that once a year. They see my estate plan, and we have an hour-long discussion. When Daddy dies, what do? We go through all of that, and then we have to play a game and have a fun meal and do it again next year.
Wow. That's kind of interesting you bring that up. There was an article that I'd seen, and it was from the Wall Street Journal. Wealthy families are writing mission statements to avoid lost fortunes and fights. This came out just on the 19th, a few days ago.
That's me. Did you see the article was wrote by me? I mean, that's my article.
Juliet Chung is your.
She was the writer. Julie wrote it and
wow.
Interviewed me. Yeah.
So you're saying you're in it?
Yeah. You read the first line. It says James R. Webb.
Let's see. Oh, duh. There it is right there. Okay. Well, I just had a page down. I see I think I'm part of a conspiracy now. Yeah, I saw the article. I didn't read it, obviously. I recognize your name. But yeah, I think that's good. It's important for everybody to know whether they're in the will or not. And then is it also helpful to give the people who aren't in the will a list of things they could do to be better so they can get in the will?
Well, with our situation, you have to have a ring on your finger to be part of the meeting.
Really?
Yeah, no boyfriends allowed. You got to be over 18 to be part of the meetings.
Oh.
And so those are kind of our little regimental rules. And we're a triple blended family. So wow. I'll backpedal just a little bit and darken the story slightly for you.
Okay.
So in 2011, my wife at the time, Marcia, was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. No sign, no symptoms. She passed away in May of 2012. And I was left raising 2 little boys and trying to build these companies. And then after a while, I did the silly thing of going on Match.com. And as I say in my book and in my wedding vows, I had my first date in 22 years. And it was the last first date of my life. I met Kathy.
Wow.
She had 2 daughters that were older. So my daughter, her daughters, my 2 boys were a blended family. And then my deceased wife's family, still very tight with them. And they accepted Kathy, and they even called her their daughter-in-law.
Wow.
So it's a really nice story.
Yeah, that's really nice. The tragedies that happen in the world are very unfortunate, but it's great that we can all come together as people all the time. So wish I could have that sort of camaraderie in my family. I screwed something up. Anyway, it's probably the money I owe them or something. No. Anyway, no, but that's really interesting. Would you say a triple cross family?
I called it, because I was married, right out of high school. Had a daughter when I was 24.
Uh-huh.
Her and her mom got divorced when I was 30. Married Marcia when I was 32, 33. Lost her, unfortunately. Had 2 boys during that period of time. And then Kathy had 2 daughters. So we've got this triple blended, including Marcia's family all together. We're all very close and very tight. And, very blessed.
Well, what a beautiful story. And I mean, it's kind of interesting. I like the idea of people doing a mission statement for their family. I grew up with a great patriarchal grandfather, but when he passed, the whole family really fell apart, and it fell into a lot of the feminine sort of what would you call it? I don't know. The gals didn't like each other. That was it.
Right.
So it just became this henpecking sort of, I remember feeling taken away from my cousin, and 20 years later when I finally met him, I'm like, what was that about? And he's like, I don't know, but they just separated his family. So I like this idea of the mission statement, and then of course everybody knowing where they're at in the food chain or the will chain, but also planning a vision for the future. What is our family about? And I think really that kind of gives it identity, wouldn't you say? The family unit.
It does, and I learned a lot about generational wealth is lost 95% of the time by the 3rd generation. And again, it's not from bad business deals; it's from family that can't get along. And another way you get along is we have a family foundation, and so we do philanthropic work together as a family, not just writing checks, but also actively participating in things.
Oh wow!
And so I think that also helps the family kind of stay together, and we're bringing the grandchildren into that now.
That's awesome.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah. And teaching the family charity too. What a great thing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's part of our mission statement. We want to give more than we take.
I like that. So it talks about the values of the company, or I'm sorry, the family company, as it were. But so anything more you want to tease out or talk about before we go? Any services, consulting, coaching, anything else you do?
No, I've got the book. I enjoy it. I think people enjoy reading it because it really has some good lessons in it and takes you all the way through my journey and discloses a few cool things and some fun things and some sad things. But no, I'm available to meet people if they have questions. Find me through LinkedIn or through the website. I'm currently living in Mexico, so not so bad. And then heading back in about a week for grandchild number 7. And that'll be me.
Congratulations. And then we talked in the pre-show about a company that you have franchises for now in Texas. Do you want to plug those?
Yeah, I will, please, if you don't mind. So it's a new franchise out there. They have about 150 stores nationwide. My group has the rights to most of North Texas, and it's called Scent Hound, SCENT Hound, and it's a dog health, wellness, and grooming company. It's a little different. It's not just about clipping the dog's nails and that. We actually do a full-blown health check on them. We teach you how to be, the term is a better dog parent. And I've kind of bought into it. And, again, like much of the other deals, we'll build it up, and hopefully private equity will jump in here someday and we'll have a nice little exit. But it's a cool little brand. People should look at it, scenthound.com.
There you go. That's a good thing.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And thanks, Sarnitz, for tuning in. Give us your .coms one last time as we go out.
Yeah, it's www.jamesharoldwebb.com or scenthound.com.
Order the book, folks, where fine books are sold. Redneck Resilience, A Country Boy's Journey to Prosperity. Thanks, Sarnitz, for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, and facebook.com/Chris Voss. Be good to each other. Stay safe, or else. Bye-bye.